What TV show did you try to get into but ultimately couldn't? Yellowstone. It was just so soap opera, eh? There was one scene that did it for me. In the first season, I think. Maybe early in the second, where there were two Chinese tourists trying to climb a cliff on the ranch. They were found by the head ranch hand who tried to rescue them, but one, maybe both, fell. Then as the fall is happening, boom, there's a grizzly bear behind the ranch hand who grabs his rifle and kills the bear. It was just so stupid I could never watch it again. I did end up watching a lot of this show simply because I typically started it late at night when I didn't want to spend a lot of time looking for something, but it was always suggested manifest. Every time I watch it I just get we're making this up as we go along and have no idea what the point or end goal of this story is at all. Vibes from it. Plus, none of the acting is really very good. Succession. Everyone is horrible. Not charming horrible, not horrible but actually good underneath, not anti-hero type. Just vapid, soulless, obscenely wealthy horrible. I couldn't find anyone to root for. I couldn't even pick one to enjoy hate. I didn't care what happened to any of them enough to give it any more time. Outlander and Handmaid's Tale. They both looked like they would be great shows, but I tried on about 4 different occasions to get into these. I managed it to the 6th episode of the first season of Outlander, and the 3rd episode of first season of Handmaid's Tale, and neither one clicked with me. The several episodes and just never got to a point of caring. Every other person on the planet seems to think it is the greatest thing ever. I love Carrie Coon as well, so it was hard to stop watching. I just didn't like the premise, the world or the characters. Game of Thrones and that big zombie show everyone was so crazy about. I read the graphic novels and after a while it was they find a place to live, stay a while, then some disaster ensues and they have to leave. Game of Thrones just never gained my interest, as has most of TV. The Boys. I went into this knowing that the show was brutal, but I just couldn't watch it after the first 5-6 episodes. The world just felt miserable. And while I do like the premise and I've both watched and read summaries on the show, I just don't want to watch it. Westworld. Loved the concept. Followed the first season, but after that, I just couldn't stick with it. Maybe it was just over my head, but I couldn't track who was human not human, present or past. Couldn't do it. Glad I'm not alone in feeling this way. The Bear. I grew up working in the food service industry all the way through college. For years I still had nightmares about falling behind on orders, food's wrong, etc. Now I get to watch a show where they relive that same nightmare? Couldn't get past episode 2. I wanted to love Curb Your Enthusiasm. Every episode I've seen had bits that made me laugh heartily. I just hate the cringe-inducing scenarios the show revolves around. The excellent humor was not worth the second-hand embarrassment I felt almost constantly. The Office US version, never tried to watch the UK version. X200B. And it's for the stupidest reason ever. My mom worked in HR her whole career. So I simply cannot watch it without thinking, nope. No way. Fired. Sued. Disciplined. Fired again. Etc. Got into house for a bit, but when he got off scot-free legally and professionally for drug abuse, drug theft and forging of another doctor's signature, killed it for me. Have a few friends and at that time DA didn't f around with painkiller shit. Mad Men. It's high praised and many talk about it fondly, but I just can't get past the first episode. I see it has potential to be a good show, but the first episode is a bit slow-paced and I can't seem to care about the characters. I tried watching Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood 3 times, couldn't make it past episode 20-something. I know it's considered one of the greatest shows of all time, but I just can't get into it. Super boring to me. Probably a very unpopular opinion, but Sex and the City. Never really saw the point. Carrie is an horrible person and who's somehow glorified. When they paused an episode to go do the dishes, I knew it was it. Lower Decks. I love Star Trek, I love science fiction comedy, but it just didn't do it for me. Too manic and shouty for my taste. I'm not a hater by any means, but it just isn't my wavelength. I'm very late with this one, but I have just started True Blood. I hammer series once I start them, but I'm just not bothered about it after about the first 5 episodes. Also Santa Clarita Diet. The Office. I tried to watch The Office because it was so funny, but I just didn't find it that funny. I found the characters to be too over the top and the jokes to be too predictable. I auditioned for some game show hosted by Snoop Dogg and was told at the second round of auditions that I'm just not weird enough for TV. I now realize I misunderstood Op's question. Yellowstone. Struck me as a 2020 version of Dallas, right down to the larger-than-life hyper-bitch female leads. Not sure why so many people are into this primetime soap opera redux. Yellowstone. I watched 2 episodes and couldn't continue. None of the characters were likable, interesting, or relatable. I didn't care about the family and their issues. Mandalorian. Tried it twice. First I just watched the first episode and thought it was meh. A few months later I tried again and got to the 4th episode before bailing again. Not me, but I failed to get a bunch of my friends into Frasier. One of my absolute favorite sitcoms, but season 1 is like 90 heated screaming matches and 10 comedy. Ozark is obviously very well made, but I don't need more stories about how failed men resorting to violence and crime are just doing what it takes. Ozark. I'm just very tired of shows where the lead character keeps making life-altering mistakes one right after the other. Gave up in season 1. Yellow Jackets. I enjoy it when I'm watching, but I have to force myself to keep watching. I'd rather it be a book instead of a show. This Is Us. Halfway through season 2, I realized that I didn't care at all about any of the characters. Why am I watching this? Mine is a success story. I tried twice to get into Schitt's Creek and then on the 3rd try it clicked for me and I loved it. The Expanse. Lots of overlap in my preferences and what that show is, but for whatever reason it doesn't scratch my itch. Every American Horror Story past the Coven season 3. I usually watch into the 2nd maybe 3rd episode and then I'm done. The Walking Dead. I really tried because my twin sis loved it. Then I remembered how I'll be different for our man shrugging. Suits. At some point I found myself thinking, I don't care about these people. I stopped watching mid-season 4. Scandal. Everyone said it was so good but I just found it far too silly for me to be able to suspend disbelief. Rick and fucking Morty. I tried so hard but the burps every other word made me roll my eyes too much to focus. The Good Place. Heard a lot of people liked it, and after 3 or 4 episodes I couldn't take it anymore. Because of the hype, watched the first episode of The Witcher and I never bothered to watch another. Stranger Things. The first season was okay but the show is definitely overhyped and I'm not sure why. Mayans. All I could think about was how different it was from So and it never held my interest. God. It was offensive or gross or whatever. It's just too much and I tried. Wasn't happening. Shameless. I was just so irritated with the characters. It riled me up with every episode. Miranda Sings. I couldn't handle the second-hand embarrassment. Stopped after 2 episodes. Crying face. Yellowstone. I hate the actress who plays the daughter. Her face just annoys me. Naruto. I didn't care for any of the characters and Sakura was too annoying. Shameless. Every time I try, it hits too close to home and I gotta stop. The Good Place. Everyone raves about it but I found it boring and corny. Succession. I couldn't care less about stupid drama of the mega wealthy. Manifest. Came for the mystery part but there was just too much drama. Orange is the New Black. Stranger Things and How I Met Your Mother. House of the Dragon. 2 or 3 episodes in and I just lost interest. Game of Thrones. My wife loves it, I just couldn't get into it. Breaking Bad. I watched a few episodes but just couldn't do it. The Walking Dead. Grey's many popular ones. How I Met Your Mother. I just didn't care how they met. Doctor Who. The entire thing just seemed goofy to me. I just couldn't get past the first season of Firefly. Outlander. Claire was not a character I could enjoy.